I'm Brendan Gulick. Welcome to Buckeye Breakdown. Let's talk about C.J. Stroud for a second. C.J. Stroud had 17 consecutive completed passes. And you know, some of them were harder, longer, tighter throws, but a good chunk of them were just like, oh, okay, I've got great protection. I'm going to throw there. And little quick pass, 15 yards that way on that little hitch, no problem. You know, the offensive line was unbelievable. He was under such little stress. I wonder if he even broke a sweat, and I'm only like half kidding on Saturday. To break an all-time program, single game, you know, individual record, 17 consecutive completed passes. JT Barrett had 16 straight against Penn State back in 2017. And then last year, between the first and second games of the year, Justin Fields had 16 straight completions against Nebraska and Penn State. You know, CJ threw 2 incompletions and 6 touchdowns and almost 400 yards in a half of football. It was silly. Now, Bryce Young threw for almost 600 yards in the second most prolific passing performance in the history of SEC football on Saturday night. So I'm not sure I'm ready to say, stamp it, C.J. Stroud's the Heisman Trophy winner, but I am very confident in saying that on Saturday that he solidified an invitation in New York, because there's no way you're having that ceremony without including him. What was your impression of C.J. Stroud this weekend, and do you think he's going to win the Heisman Trophy?
The impression was we are watching the maturation of the best quarterback potentially Ohio State's ever had. And I say this because of the development he has taken into place. And I know every week I talk about, I have gushed over C.J. Stroud, I think, the entire season. And I know, Brendan, you laugh at me. I've always kind of like taken his back. I think that for even at the beginning, like Minnesota, I'm like, this kid's going to be really good. Like he's just, and where it all comes back to is you watch his eyes. You watch his eyes. And he mentioned it in the postgame. He talked about it. He told his guys, hey, you beat the man, I'll take care of the holes. And what he's alluding to is, as a great quarterback, man coverage you're not going to beat with a throw. But you can beat zone coverage with your eyes. And he looks stuff off. And I know they went on the teleprompter, the herbistrator, or whatever they call it on ABC on Saturday. But when you go back and watch the film, you're watching him pick apart defenses with his eyes. And that's before he even tries to throw the football. And these are things he was doing when he had the shoulder problem. These are things he was doing where that he was looking at things, and these aren't RPOs. Like, just to take a step back, he's playing at an NFL level right now. I mean, I literally sat there and watched the Cleveland Browns yesterday play the Detroit Lions. And this is not off topic. This is going to pull back to C.J. Stroud. I promise you, I'm not going off one of my tangents. And this is a crazy thing to say. Would he be able to better execute the Cleveland Browns offense than Baker Mayfield? And I know he's not. I'm not saying that right now. But the way that their offense is set up with the multiple tight ends, the hard play actions, the throws they're asking him to throw, like, these are things that he does right now at Ohio State. And when he's doing that, he's not just sitting there throwing RPOs. That's one of the things, and a lot of us probably that watch the Ohio State game at noon got an opportunity to probably watch Alabama, Arkansas. Sure. When you watched Alabama, Arkansas, the difference between these two quarterbacks is right now Alabama's living on an RPO game. And this is what they did last year. There's nothing wrong with it. It's not a detriment, but he's not setting up into play action and hitting deep balls. He's throwing little slants here and there. He's not building off of this. And yes, Ohio State does use the RPO game when they get into different sets and different things that they're going to use, but it's more based off their rub routes that they're going to use inside. And they get those 2-man stacks and they get those little, tight down where they adjust their alignment, adjust their bunches. It's where Ohio State has really evolved in this passing game. And it's every single week they're going to run a lot of the similar concepts, but they do a great job of window dressing it. And that's what Ryan Day and his staff are doing right now. They're at the facility. How do we window dress this? How do we window dress this to be able to beat Michigan? And when you watch them do this, they're doing it on a quarterback who they have unlimited faith in. There's not a great time where you see CJ coming off the field. I mean, literally, Herb Street, I alluded to him earlier. He laughs in the telecast where after he throws an incomplete pass after 17 complete passes, goes, Ohio State, they better figure this thing out. This is disgusting. Jokingly about it on national TV. And you see Olave, it's Olave and Wilson are laughing at each other because they got on the same side. They ran the wrong route. Yeah. And what happens? What do you see? And I know, Brandon, you saw it because you were at the game. And TV's not going to talk about this. Stroud runs over to those two. And what does he do? He grabs him. Hey, we got to figure this thing out. You've got a commander on the field who is living and preaching the message that Ryan Day wants for this entire program, not just his offense. And he's quietly becoming this incredible, dynamic leader that is doing things with his actions. And a lot of times you don't see that in this world today. A lot of it is talked about who talks the most. It's his actions. And I know some of the greatest leaders I've ever been around in my life, it's the way that they proceed every single day. And Stroud is doing this. Yes, he stamped his ticket to go to New York City. Is he the Heisman yet? I don't know. I think one of the things that we see with this Heisman race this year, it's not your traditional Heisman race. There's always one guy where you just go, all right, it's him, or it's him, or it's him. Is he in the 3? If he's not in the 3, then I'd love to see the film of the guys that are. Sure. And I think the other award that he's going to be, and I know he was the Walter Payton or the Walter Camp player of the week. That's another one. Another award that you could see him easily being the selection for as well. What's going to happen is how Alabama finishes out the season, how they look in Atlanta, going forward. And I think if CJ plays another great game against Michigan where he just dominates like he did against Michigan State, I think he better start working on that speech. And I know everyone's laughing about this, and they said it before the game. Like, he's not the best player on his offense.
He's not
be considered the best player in college football. But it's a compliment to taking advantage of the situation you're in and maximizing it. It comes back to, I haven't heard CJ Stroud on the radio. I don't see him promoting, some shaving cream or, whatever it is, or CJ's fries at this place or whatever it may be. He's focused in on being the best Ohio State quarterback he possibly can be. And it's just so much fun to watch. And in Ohio State, in a world where a lot of the outside noise is what people live on, they've got the right guy under center who's making the right decisions. And I really hope that he is the person that I think he is off the field as well, because it's been so much fun to watch this guy really develop and really be the one that hits the gas pedal for this offense.
I think his Heisman candidacy is not the right word. He's obviously a candidate. He's going to New York. Mm-hmm. I think his Heisman Trophy award hopes are very real, because that award so often goes to the best offensive player on the best offensive team in the country. It's not a guarantee, but a lot of times, you think, okay, who's the best team in the country? What team throws up gaudy points and stats, and who's their leader? And that's CJ Stroud. And so I think if Ohio State does again on Saturday this week what it's done several times recently, including this past weekend, I'm not sure it matters what Bryce Young would do against Georgia in a Big Ten title game. I mean, if he does it against Michigan State and Michigan in back-to-back weeks, I think then you lock it up. But in the meantime, I still think he's got to have one more, elite performance to do that.